So I worked in the Setanta House Hotel many years ago. We had a late night bar for a wedding party that was there. So the security guard was doing his rounds, making sure everything was safe, and he saw a small girl at the end of the corridor in the old part of the hotel. The new part actually didn't exist at the time. So he asked the girl what she was doing out of bed, and she had this long, white, old-fashioned nightgown on her. And so she didn't say anything, and so he started walking towards the girl because he was a bit concerned about her, like she was just standing there. And then he said he just looked back, and when he looked around, the girl was gone. So he came down the stairs to us, and he was a bit shaken because like she literally just disappeared, like she didn't go into any of the bedroom doors or anything, like. And he was like, "Does a little girl upstairs, like, you know, she just vanished." And we told him, like, there are actually no kids staying in the hotel at the moment. Are you sure you saw a little girl? And he was like, "I am telling you, she was standing at the end of the corridor, just standing there with a long white, old-fashioned looking nightgown on her. And she was just looking at me, she didn't answer me, and then she just disappeared." And we were like, honestly, so we just checked the books again. We're like, there's no children staying in the hotel at the moment. It's just a wedding party. It's all adults, like there's no children. Well, he left the hotel and he never came back again because it was a ghost.
A wadding and heat some castor oil and put the soaked wadding in the ear. Mr. Locker in Celbridge heard in County Cavan. Get some sheep's wool, put some castor oil on it. Keep in ear. Mr. Murphy Celbridge. Pour hot olive oil in ear. Mrs. Wing Celbridge. A small drop of turpentine for a sore ear. Mr. J. Doyle Celbridge. Get a piece of wadding and dip it in whiskey. Put it in the ear and the ear will get drunk. Mr. Locker in Celbridge. Heard in County Cavan.
Kept quite calm. She asked her what she was doing, and her reply was, "Why do you want to know?" She said nothing, but he threw his nets onto the girl. She had lovely long hair and she looked like an ordinary girl, but one half of her body was like a fish. Her hair got caught in Tommy's net. She asked him to let her free, but Thomas made no effort to do so. In a few minutes, the girl got quite clear of the nets herself. She put her hand down into the water and she cut the net all around her, and then she was free again. Tommy was greatly surprised and he said nothing. When he went home,
the dressing of lime prevents the hides from becoming stale. After 48 hours, the hides are placed in large vats and dressed in chemicals, and after several days, they are taken out and hung again, to dry until they assume the form we know as a side of leather. The coarser leather is used for boots and leggings, and the finer leather is used for bookbinding and glove making. The tanner.
I'm singing a song that runs in the family, and the song is called I Robbed an Old Handbag. I robbed an old handbag, I felt it with clay. Well, I had no mommy over there. The guardies approached me and asked me my name. I gave them the answer with a bicycle chain. The judge said, "Stand up, boy, and dry up your tears. You're only gonna fight."
Some 600 years ago, there lived 3 old kings in a castle in a place called the Silskin in St. Catherine's Park, Leixlip. The ruins of the castle walls are still to be seen. It is said that one day the eldest king took a pot of gold into the garden and buried it. He said no one was to unearth it. Many years after, when the kings were dead, a man hearing of the treasure made an attempt to unearth it. But before he had time to dig 1 foot underground, a big light started to flash all around him, but he did not mind. Then a huge stone fell down upon him and killed him. That place is said to be haunted and lights are seen there.
The gas lights on the street every night. Sometimes he would see a lady sitting on top of a tree brushing her long hair. This lady was called the Banshee. If she threw the comb at you, you could die. My grandfather told her that he had to run home so the Banshee's comb would not hit him. My gran retold this story to her children, and now I am telling this story, but we are not sure how real the Banshee was.
People have a lot of stories about Will-o'-the-Wisp. Here's one of them. Once upon a time, there was a blacksmith, and he was very great with the old chap, also known as the devil. One day the two of them were talking. The old chap gave the blacksmith 3 wishes and said he would come for him after 20 years, and the blacksmith said it'd be alright. After 20 years, the devil came and stood at the forge door. When the blacksmith saw him, he knew who it was. The devil asked him if he was ready to go with him. The smith said he would go when the horse was shod. The devil took out the hammer and started to beat at the shoe. The blacksmith started to laugh at him. He had thought of the wishes, and he wished the devil would not stop till he liked to make him. The devil was an awful Satan. He asked the blacksmith to let him go.
There are fables told about banshees in Ireland. Banshees are supposed to come as a warning to some families that a death is about to take place. One of the most remarkable in our neighbourhood is that of Gormanstown. All the foxes from all over a certain radius gather around the castle on the night before a member of that family dies. And when that takes place, they go off again. In other families, a little old woman appears and wails outside the window. As a matter of fact, most families have their own form of banshees, and in most cases quite true. Collector Lorna Langan. Gender female. Address Bellewstown, County.
Hi, I'm Claire McGovern, and this is a Maynooth Ghost Story 1, volume 0772, page 36. One night, as a friend was coming from the town of Summerhill between 10 and 11 o'clock, she was coming up a lane which led to her house. As she came round the corner, her bicycle lamp went out. A few yards away, she saw a big black dog across the lane, and she thought it was her own dog. What she'd seen was a spirit that had been there for years.
I was told that on Doctor's Lane, Maynooth, there is to be seen a big black dog and a little woman dressed in all white. One night, my mother was throwing out water, and a big black dog came up beside her. When she turned around to come in, the dog disappeared, and my mother came in and fainted. She was confined to bed for 3 weeks after it.
Could do but to go on her way. The girl walked along the road to the forest, then to the fallen tree, and she turned left. Her nose started to throb harder, so she knew she was going the right way. Then all of a sudden, in front of her behind an old gate stood the hut of Baba Yaga. There could be no mistake. Only the hut of Baba Yaga, the witch, stood high up on a giant chicken legs and could walk around the yard by itself. When it turned to face you, the front windows looked like 2 eyes and the door looked like a mouth.
Hi, my name is Maria Borovitz, and I'm going to be telling some facts about Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is also spelled Baba Yaga with a Y. Baba Yaga is a supernatural being who appears as a deformed and or ferocious looking woman. In fairy tales, Baba Yaga flies around in a mortar wields of pestle and dwells deep into the forest in a hut, usually described as standing on chicken legs. Mikhail Lomonosov's book Russian Grammar. In Slavic folklore, Baba Yaga is
like a sculptor which contains the cure. Mr. Michael Cusack, Moy Valley, County Kildare, has the cure of the jaundice. He uses herbs with which he makes a bottle. Mr. Gerald Killeen, Moy Valley, County Kildare, has the cure of the running worm. He has to rub the person every Sunday, Monday and Thursday. Mr. James Cully, Carberry, County Kildare, has the cure of a blast. He gives a bottle to run on Sunday, Monday and Thursday. 3rd of October 1938, there's a small well in the hollow of an old tree in Kildare. It is called St. Bridget's Well. It cures warts. Anyone that wants warts cured has to go there for 3 Fridays and say the Hail Mary 5 times, then they get cured. It was collected by Patrick Gorey. He was male and he lived in Broadford, County Kildare.
Hello, my name is Jill Moran, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Uisneach. Uisneach is described as a sacred centre of Ireland, the burial place of Irish gods such as the Lugh, the Daggett, the site of the sacred tree. The midnight hunt is said to come across the hill of Uisneach at midnight. It crosses the hill of Carn, and you can easily hear the cry of hounds and the master calling them, and the fox is never captured. The myth tells us that before the arrival of the Gaelic people, Ireland was occupied by rare supernatural beings, known as the Tuatha De Danann. These mythical people are thought to represent the deities of pre-Christian Ireland, before becoming the Oshi or fairies of later folklore.
Hi, my name is Samuel Olaniwaji, and I'm going to be reading about the school chapel. The school chapel, or St. Bartholomew, is an ossuary chapel located in the Czermat district of Kudowa-Zdrój in Poland. Built in Baroque style in the last quarter of the 18th century, the temple serves as a mass grave with thousands of skulls and skeletal remains adorning its interior walls, as well as floor, ceiling and foundations. The school chapel is only such monument in Poland and one of the 6 in Europe.